If I'm going to pay this guy, Matthew, a fee, and I'm going to keep on paying you, man, this better, you better show me that this fee pays for itself. Are you kidding? I have to not only be paranoid, I have to make sure that I can deliver. Don't go get an advisor unless you know how to vet that advisor. And this is 2022. I think we can do better to find a financial advisor. I'm not saying that I want to buy Bitcoin and Ethereum, but I'm saying I want to understand Bitcoin and Ethereum and cryptocurrency. And I said, okay, I like it. So we went with Wellthreamp. When I quit that business model, that was the day that I became an investor advocate. You tell us what not to do. You tell us how to be careful, but you're not telling us where to go. And that was literally, that was the moment that I said, this is a problem. Damn it. I'm going to solve it. I don't really want to, but I'm going to.
Hello guys, and welcome back to Relevant Founders, brought to you by Relevant Software. Relevant is an international software development company that designs, builds, and delivers world-class standard products of Fortune 500 companies and promising startups. Today, guys, we've got a really interesting guest for you, Pam Kruger. Pam, hello, how are you?
Hi, Matthew. Thanks for inviting me.
Pam, what I want to do, so just for our listeners, just so they know a little bit more about you, founder of Wealthramp. Okay, so a fintech company with a mission to connect people to the right fee-only advisor who will help them meet their goals. Yeah. So, Pam, best thing for me to do is, instead of me wasting my time trying to explain everything that you're doing, you'll give a much more succinct answer. Tell the listeners, what is Wealthramp?
Wellthreamp is the only platform that I've ever seen that exists anywhere, seriously, where I am protecting consumers from lousy financial advice from advisors who are really not looking out for their clients' best interests as much as they're looking to make a sale of an investment. And so it's an awakening, it's an education, it's empowering people to take the decision. Who are you going to listen to? Who are you going to rely on? Financial advice on your most important money decisions. Stop and take that decision very seriously and thoughtfully.
Nice. Okay, absolutely needed here. Tell me, let's start off a little bit with you. So your background, tell me about your history and how you got to building Wealthramp in 2014, I believe.
Okay, I am going to, we really launched in 2019 nationally, but we're going to go in the Wayback Machine. We're going to fly in time way back decades ago. So the reason that Wealthramp came about is because I started my career being recruited as a sales rep, AKA broker, AKA advisor for a major brokerage firm in the United States. And I was so excited because I was 24 years old, but I wasn't there even a month before I realized I was really a telemarketer. And I didn't want to do it. I did everything I could to get fired. And I didn't get fired, I got promoted.
Oh, wow. Oh my God.
When I got promoted, I started managing brokers. This is where it got serious. I was managing 60 brokers, and I was watching the brokers who worked for me, and I was getting paid based on their commissions, based on what they would sell to their clients. And I was watching them put cognitively impaired older people into investments and annuities that were totally inappropriate to generate commissions because it was easy for them to do that. And I said, no, I'm not doing this. It's a perverse business model. It's not that the people are evil or bad. It's that the business model is not right. And I said, I'm not going to do that. Then I learned about a different type of advisor who's independent and, you know, basically held legally in the United States anyway, held to a higher fiduciary standard. And they're not attached to sales. They don't sell anything. They don't get commissions. They actually work for their clients. They actually are advisors who work directly for their clients and therefore are compensated only by their clients. But even amongst the independent advisors who are not at brokerage firms or insurance companies, even amongst that population, you have to say, well, all of them can't be an A on a report card. They can't all be the same. They all look the same. They all look like trees in the forest, and it's really hard to tell them apart. And that's where I come in with Wealthramp. And actually, in between there, Matthew, I had a television series called Moneytrack. It was on every week, usually Sunday mornings. We were on 250 PBS stations, and one of my guests was someone named John Bogle, who's become the champion of the small investor. He had such an impression on me, and we were on 250 PBS stations across America, and I was educating people. And my message on the show, ironically, I was always telling people, don't go get an advisor unless you know how to vet that advisor.
Interesting.
And you've got to be really careful, and you've got to be skeptical and wary of advisors. And it was only because our viewers pushed back and said, Pam, you're always telling us what to avoid with financial advisors, but give me a name. Tell me where I can find the good ones that you would say are an A on a report card. That's
And
how
was
well.
there not one then? Is that why you went out to build Wealthramp? Because there wasn't really one that you could trust and put out there.
I didn't want to do it. People were asking me for names of advisors. I've been in the business since I was 24. I'm one of the few people that understands the good, bad, and ugly about everything to do with advisors. I didn't want to give out referral names. And the only reason I did it was because one woman said to me, if you don't give me a name, I don't have any place to go. I'm going to wind up going online and getting sucked into a lead generation vacuum where they want my personal information and they're going to turn around and sell it to insurance agents. And this is 2022. I think we can do better to find a financial advisor. That's the only reason I created. So I came to it kicking and screaming. I didn't want to do it. Now I love it. I'm in love with it now. I love doing this.
Tell me a little bit about this a little bit more in depth, because it's obvious to me that you've got a, let's say, a love for people. Yeah, you don't want to scam people. You want to help people the best that they can. And honestly, yeah, you're not doing this just for the money, just for the business. You're doing this to help people. Where did that passion come from?
From being in my 20s and being the person who was supposed to defend the bad behavior. So when you go back and you look at the aggressive sales tactics of the advisors in the brokerage firm who were incentivized to sell annuities, for example, to cognitively impaired, older people, and put it in their IRA accounts because they could slide it in there, and that person's not going to push back, and they're going to make a sale. Well, they're incentivized to make that sale. So when I saw that system, that business model right there and then, and when I quit that business model, that was the day that I became an investor advocate. And I turned it on its upside down. And I said, not only do I not want to do that, I need to educate people about the way this business, this financial advice industry works, because it is not a profession. It does not require the kinds of licenses that would if you were a physician or if you were an attorney. And yet, I would argue that your life savings and your financial well-being is as important as your physical and mental well-being, as well as legal. So I think it's got to turn into a profession, and it can't be an industry. And the only way to do it is to have people like me who are very loud and saying this system no longer works for people. It works against people. We need to find a way to let people know that there are independent advisors and there are fewer of them, but that you have to take your time and educate yourself.
Okay. We're going to come back to this a little bit more in depth in a second. We're going to go just to our blitz rounds, and I will throw some questions at you and we will see how you do with them. No problem if you don't know them, that we're going to the next one at all. What I want to do, I just want to pick from it anything that I hear that I think, we need to go into depth for this. So let's start with, tell me about the challenge of finding your initial funding. How long did it take you?
Oh my God. Friends and family first. Friends and family. And I think that everybody could understand the business model. My business model is that I don't want the client, the consumer, to have to pay me to find an advisor. I want the advisor who I vetted. I hand selected 250 advisors. I very thoughtfully went out and added each one. So I've gotten to know them. I want them to pay me a referral fee, but I only want to get that fee after the relationship with the client has been proven and established. So I think that when I went to the investors in the friends and family round in the first place, they could see the potential, but I hadn't yet onboarded all the advisors, and it was a vision. So I had friends and family that funded the vision, and the goal was to get to revenue. And what you just said a minute ago about wanting to create something for the right reason, it propels you, it gets you up in the morning. It's the passion, but it also takes longer because it's not gimmicky. It's not lead generation. Everything I do is private. I don't sell people's information or share it. Their data is their own. It's longer. because I don't do that. I could make money doing that, and I don't do that.
Yeah.
So, that first round was friends and family. That was based on trust. That was based on what I had built in the past with the TV series, even though that was nonprofit. That was not a business. I had never started a business before. I had never
Very
found
good.
a startup. I've always been entrepreneurial, and my TV series was completely entrepreneurial, but it was nonprofit. So I had to get over that hurdle, and I had to say, please, 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 please fund us so I can create the network. The next round was also friends and family. But it was a little bit more people who knew the business and industry. Then the next stage became not so much friends and family, as much as it became angel investors understand the space and were introduced to me as individual angel investors who each might invest up to 250,000. If you're the advisor, Matthew, and you're working with a client to whom I've introduced you, then I am going to get a piece of your revenue for as long as that client remains your client.
Okay.
You will pay me in perpetuity. And my agreement is with your firm. It's with you, but it's with your firm.
And these are all the investors that you've handpicked yourself, done all of the research to make sure they are reliable and the people which you want as part of, let's say, your team.
So out of 500,000 people in the United States who self-identify in some form or fashion as a financial advisor, that includes insurance agents, includes everything in the kitchen sink. 500,000, about 7,500 would qualify.
Wow.
In my book to be A on a report card. Let me tell you, there's tons of C's and C pluses out there. Do you want a mediocre advisor? If I'm going to pay this guy, Matthew, a fee, and I'm going to keep on paying you, man, you better show me that this fee pays for itself and that it's worth it. So finding those kinds of advisors, yeah, I had to not only identify them and do the background checks, but then I had to interview every Matthew and I have a lot of female advisors as well. Interview,
How long did that take
advisors, but I don't even want to tell you.
you? Oh, wow.
And so almost 3 years.
Wow, that's a long time.
Are you kidding? Everybody thought I was nuts. Everybody was like, what is your problem? Pam, this advisory firm, they'd name a name, is squeaky clean and they're fiduciary and they're fee only. What is your problem? And I'm like, I don't like them because they're too old. There's cobwebs. If you ask them about crypto, they're going to say, in this particular case, great advisory firm 20 years ago, but this is 2022. Yeah. And I'm not saying that I want to buy Bitcoin and Ethereum, but I'm saying I want to understand Bitcoin and Ethereum and crypto. I want to understand it. And if my advisor says, oh, well, we don't do that because we're conservative, I say, I'm not asking you to do it. I'm asking you, do you read the Wall Street Journal?
Yeah,
can you have a decent conversation with me? I don't want an advisor who's asleep at the switch. So that's why there's a million things wrong with where I put advisors into the B- or the C category. They're not going to harm you. They're not going to, there's no foul, there's no fraud. But they're probably not going to help you that much either.
It's true. But you know what, Pam? It does seem like that 3 years to find all of those advisors, that's one of the best kind of sales pitch that you've got there, because that's a lot of work, a lot of time. And straight away, there's trust. Straight away, there's that trust that these people, they're not scammers. These people want to work for you. Okay. Tell me, what is the biggest lesson you have learned so far building Wellthreamp?
A lesson that I already knew from having developed a TV show from scratch, that perseverance, you have to endeavor to persevere. And that at the end of the day, I think, this is my opinion, I don't know, but I think that getting up in the morning every day and wanting to build a business that truly breaks through and offers something different that because you've seen it over and over again, is going to change people's lives. Because like I say, when it's done correctly, the right kind of collaboration, oh my God, it reduces stress like crazy. I have people coming back to me all the time with their stories about how much stress it relieves. So when you have that, and you can have that as part of your business, that's the core, it allows you to persevere. and you have to outlast everybody. I had to outlast my friends and everybody who said, why are you taking 3 years? And I said, because my name is on this. And I'm going to pull in journalists, and I'm going to pull in people with other influence. And I'm going to ask them, refer to Wealthramp. Are you kidding? I have to not only be paranoid, I have to make sure that I can deliver such an outstanding experience that people will talk about it.
Wow. Nice. Absolutely nice there. I mean, perseverance, but I mean, I guess you have to have that ability to, that's a hard thing to learn. I mean, perseverance is an extremely hard thing to learn. You've either got it or not in many cases. And I guess maybe that's something that you had right from the beginning, from building your TV show as well. Okay, we'll go into that a little bit more in a second. Tell me, why now? Why is now the time for your company to exist? Why not 10 years ago?
I think that 10 years ago, it could have existed easily, but I think it's probably, even since the pandemic, it makes more sense because we had people that were in their 60s and 70s, and they're really concerned about making sure that they have enough savings to last the rest of their lives. Pre-pandemic, people were, I really want to have the advisor who's going to be down the street from me. And then think about all the people who live in Bismarck, North Dakota, or they live in, they live in places that are Tyler, Texas. They're not in places that are really close by Boston or New York or San Francisco or LA. And they would not have felt comfortable having an advisor. But now we have 250 advisors in the network across the country. But now you're seeing a trend where people, even older people who have gotten used to Zoom, are saying, fine, I'm talking to everybody else on Zoom. I have no problem meeting with Matthew, my advisor, on Zoom. So that is something that happened that makes now even more important. But why now important? Why is it now important more than ever before? Really is because people are educated and they demand it. They won't settle for less anymore. They're not going to see some smarmy TV commercial promising all kinds of things and pick up the phone and call. They really know there's such a thing called the internet and people know that they can Google and find out about advisors. And so that's why now, because people want to take what they've learned and they want to take it a step further.
They expect more now, don't they? People expect more because it's so easy to find the information yourself. You expect the next thing, the next service. Okay, next one for you. What would you be doing now? If you hadn't started Wealthramp, what would you be doing?
I'd be probably still doing the show. And I still intend to put the show back on the air, Moneytrack,
Nice.
but not for probably a couple of years because this is my full-time baby. This is like having a startup. It's like having an infant. You have to feed it, burp it, change its diaper, constantly. So I can't do that right now, but that's what I would be doing. It's all education. It's all about investor education and financial literacy.
When was that moment when you had that eureka moment? Was it when you were speaking to someone on the show? Was it when you were just sitting there thinking about the future? Was that specific moment you thought, this is it?
When that woman on the phone with me who was asking me for a name, and I said, the reason I can't just give you a referral without knowing you is, what if you had a child on the autism spectrum? I can't introduce you to an advisor who's never seen a special needs trust, even if he's a great advisor. What happens if you or your partner or spouse work at a startup and you're getting paid in stock options? I can't send you to an advisor that doesn't understand the complex tax planning around ISOs and RSUs. And then she said, well, I feel like you're kicking us to the curb because there's no one out there to help us with a name of an advisor. You tell us what not to do. You tell us how to be careful, but you're not telling us where to go. And that was literally, that was the moment that I said, this is a problem. Damn it, I'm going to solve it. I don't really want to, but I'm going to.
You didn't want to?
I did not. I came to it kicking and screaming. I didn't want to do it.
And
then I fell in love with it. Now I'm in love with it.
In love with your infant baby startup now?
I'm in love with doing this. I didn't realize how important it was until I got into it. And I didn't realize how much it was needed until people gave me the feedback after the fact. And then once I saw that just propelled me.
I mean, I guess you need that passion. It takes up so much time, so much energy, so much mental power that you need that passion to believe in what you're doing. So it's so important. Okay, next question for you here. How big is your team now? Okay, so you were doing, I guess, this research to find these 250 advisors on your own at the beginning. What about now? How's it look?
So I brought on, the very first person that I brought on was someone who is so unique and so cool. This is like the day that I came up with the idea. I met Louis Grant. He's in Canada, and he's my digital experience, digital marketing guru. It's not about, we don't do a lot of digital marketing, but it's about how to position Wellthramp and get the message across as to who we are versus the rest of the competition. The second employee is Diane Wolf, our CFO. I needed a CFO. And Diane's got a background in investment banking in San Francisco. And she's just the right combination of talents. And then we had Adam Clary in the UK, who was our CTO. And I gave him a bunch of equity in the company so that he was well incentivized to build the algorithm that we needed. And then we brought on Kelsey Thompson, who's in charge of PR and media. Fortunately, I have a lot of media that we get a lot of our referrals from that I don't have to buy or pay for.
Nice.
Because I'm already hosting a podcast called Friends Talk Money on PBS Next Avenue. And because I'm already out there and people trust me. So Forbes or US News and World Report, different publications will come to me. So thank God. And then we're just about to hire someone new. So basically, and then we have a couple of 1099s, which means that they are part-timers, that are not really full employees. So that's our crew right now. And we will grow thoughtfully.
We're going to go into the CTO a little bit more because that sounds very interesting as well, building your algorithm a little bit later. Two more questions for you here. What is the word you would use to describe your journey if you used one word?
Oh my God. I only have one word.
Only one word. Can you imagine?
I suppose it would be inspired.
Okay.
Because that's what I think about when I think about how do you get through the tough times, because there's plenty of them. What actually is the constant that's always there? And I do feel inspired.
Okay. If you were to describe your year in one word, this year so far, how would you describe it?
Instructive.
Okay. Cool.
And clarifying. We've made some mistakes.
I mean, that's all part of the process, I guess, then pivoting, isn't it?
Yeah, we made some mistakes, but we saw that we were making them. We were spending way too much time on the development side. And we needed to be spending time cultivating relationships with employers and places that will trust to work with me, to refer their employees to Wealthramp. And we took our eye off the ball, and our growth rate in revenues dropped, and our traffic dropped. And it was like an alarm that went off. And everybody said, oh my God, we're spending the whole team's time over here trying to add on and enhance the website part of it. And even on the advisor side, trying to help the advisors have a better experience interfacing with Wealthramp when they come in to check to see the activity. And we need to do that stuff, but not right now. This past year has been painful and instructive. And if you'd asked me, did I feel like I could throw in the towel at some point this past year? I wouldn't say that I was ready to do that, but I thought about it.